Yo, what up? How's it going? And welcome back for another video. Today's video we'll be doing a patch notes rundown on patch 9.23. This is the preseason patch. So this patch is the biggest patch that there's been in probably the past 2 years. So it's kind of a lot to take in. I've already read through the patch once and I was just like, oh my gosh, look at all these changes. I've been playing on PBE a lot and stuff like that too, so I already was aware of a lot of these changes, or some of them are a little bit new to me. And hopefully I can be your guide through this huge patch and kind of tell you how I think things are going to turn out and what some of the what some of the changes mean for the game, and how you can play around it and all that good stuff. So let's just get right into it. Okay, let's just read the opening thing for the patch. Hope you're ready for some big shakeups to Summoner's Rift, expansions and overhauls to multiple item systems, major work to a bunch of keystones. In many respects, I don't think they work on a bunch of keystones actually. In many respects, this is our most ambitious preseason in years. We're excited to see what new picks and strategies develop in a world where the map itself changes during the game. Okay. As usual, the next couple of months will be all about establishing and stabilizing the new meta as we head towards the next season. So I think most of these changes aren't going to change in the preseason. They'll like minorly change. Okay, elemental rifts. So this is talking about how the map changes. We're not going to read this thing over here. We're just going to read this stuff. So transform mechanics. After the second elemental drake dies, the third is announced. Okay. Same as the element of the third drake. So what this is talking about is it's saying after the second drake dies, the third one is announced, and that third one becomes the map. So same as the element of the third drake. So if the third dragon is infernal, then the whole map will be infernal. Once the map transforms, all future elemental drake spawns will be of that element only. So if the third dragon is an infernal dragon, then the rest of the elemental drakes spawned for the rest of the game will be infernal drakes. I don't know if that's for the rest of the game, because that doesn't make sense. Because if the other team got the dragon, we'll dive into that a little bit more. But something that's important to know is that the first 3 dragons are always different. So you can't have the first 3 dragons be all mountains or all oceans. The first 3 dragons will all be different, and then the third dragon will just get copied for the rest of the round. It may switch if the enemy team kills the dragon. Hey, this is Duncan from the future. I'm going to skip this part here because I kind of ramble for a while because I'm confused about the Drake thing. But I explain it later and we get back on pace later. So I'm going to go ahead and skip this part. See ya. Infernal Rift. Okay. Always occur in the 4 quadrants of the jungle centered around the buff and dragon pit as well. Alright, we're not off to a great start, but we're doing it. Okay, new paths make opportunities for quick flanks and sidestep that your opponent isn't expecting. So the Infernal Drake just breaks down certain walls. So it breaks down the walls of you can see the red buff right here. It does the same thing near the blue buff, and it makes the dragon pit wider as well. So the dragon pit is bigger, and some of the brushes are gone. So the brush by the blue and red buff are gone as well. Okay, extra tight spaces give opportunities for big AoE wombos and create some interesting new hiding spots with Fog of War. 2 new bluffs of rock emerge in each jungle quadrant. A rock formation rises in front of the dragon pit. So there's the rock ridge right there, and then if you look at this little picture right here, you can see there's one blocking this entrance and then one over here. So you have to kind of maneuver around the map a little bit differently. Cool. Ocean, sneak around the jungle and look for a new ambush opportunity. So more bushes spawn. So you can see right here that this bush extends the entire pathway right here. That's just an example. There's a bush in the dragon pit, it looks like. Yeah, there's a bush in the dragon pit. There's a bush in front of the dragon pit. And then the health plants spawn in a bunch of weird spots as well. Like there's one right next to the mid lane that wouldn't normally be there. And all this good stuff. Okay, Cloud, it creates these zones that gives you bonus movement speed to everyone inside of it. So there's one all around the buffs and then one on the dragon pit as well. So around each buff and the dragon pit. Cool, side lane alcoves. See, the side lane alcoves is one of the craziest changes. We're adding 2 alcoves to Summoner's Rift. New alcoves have been carved into the outer corners of the top and bottom lanes. 3 patches mirroring, and bottom lane has 3 patches of brush mirroring the top lane. That top lane's always had three things of brush. So this is pretty crazy for like, you can do some sneaky stuff like in the solo lane. You can make them think you reset and you can get behind them easier than it would have been before, where you just have to like try to get into the bush before the wave crashes. You can actually do sneaky stuff like this. This is going to be crazy for like doing hex flashes over this wall and then killing people. Supports are not going to have to ward inside of the alcove, which is going to be really weird. This is crazy for champions like Evelyn as well, who wanted to just walk behind you. She can actually just walk through the alcove and get straight behind you. Or a lot of junglers can just walk straight through the alcove like Rengar. You walk straight through the alcove and then he gets right here and then jumps on you. This is going to be crazy. This is going to be so weird to play around. Like, this could be like game-breaking difference in how League is played. It's also pretty cool for Bard. Once you're in here, you can use your portal to get almost all the way back to your tower. So it's kind of cool. It's going to be nutty. River brush instances. So they're just new brush right where the river comes in. So this can make some cool things where you know you're going to get invaded and then you hide in this bush and then you kill them, or you're invading and you know like they're going to gank top and you can get in that bush. So that'll be kind of cool. Okay, this is where this gets all weird. All right, so this is going to help explain the stuff that I did a poor job of explaining earlier. Okay, Dragon Souls are a new in-game payoff for the team who wins the Elemental Drake game. A powerful reward that's similar to an epic objective. Dragon Souls don't offer the same moment-to-moment strength as Baron or Elder buff, but they're permanent, and an additional bonus on top of the Drake stacks their bearers have already earned. So it gives you an additional if you've stacked multiple Drakes. The first team to slay 4 Elemental Drakes gains a Dragon Soul matching the Elemental Rift. Elder Dragon begins spawning after one team gains a Dragon Soul. So Elder Dragon will no longer spawn at 35 minutes or after 35 minutes. It'll now just spawn when one team has collected 4 dragons. And so that'll mean they'll collect 3 unique ones and then 2 that stack on top of each other, most likely. Yeah, most likely. Unless they didn't collect the first 2. Then they'll have 3 unique ones, or 3 that are the same and 1 unique one. Anyways, like Elemental Drake buffs, Dragon Souls are permanent and now persist through death, so you get it after death. Elder Dragon will begin spawning after one team gains a Dragon Soul, meaning only one team can have it. So only one team can have a Dragon Soul. So both teams can't have Dragon Souls throughout the game. So if one team wins the Elemental Drake game, they're going to have a huge buff. Cloud is the least buffy one. But anyways, so Infernal, every 3 seconds, by the way, every 3 seconds, your next damaging attack or ability on an enemy unit triggers a small explosion, dealing 90, the plus 0.25 bonus attack damage, plus 1.15 ability power, plus 0.03 bonus health damage to the target and nearby enemies. I've actually tested this on PvE. It's pretty strong if you have multiple Infernals, or not multiple Infernals, but just it's pretty strong once you get this buff. If you get the Infernal Dragon Soul, it's actually pretty nutty. Okay, so that's crazy. After not taking damage for 5 seconds, gain a shield for 225. This is like coming into battle with a locket on. Dude, look at this. And then it scales with all this stuff. That's crazy, man. This one is like the most crazy one to me. Like, this is pretty cool, and it does a little explosion, and it's cool when you're watching it. But this is pretty crazy. You come into battle with a locket shield. And if the battle takes, like, if you get like in a big trade battle, and then you guys back up, after 5 seconds, you get it again. That's crazy. There may be a longer cooldown than this that it's just not mentioning, but it should mention it. Okay, dealing damage to enemies heal you for 180. What? And restores 90 mana over 3 seconds. Damage to minions or monsters regenerates 30% of effectiveness. That's still really good. What's the cooldown on this? It doesn't show the cooldown on this, but this is also crazy. Heals you for 180 and then has a good scaling. 0.4 attack damage, 0.25 ability power. Bonus health is shitty scaling. And you get your mana back. You can just like farm up life on jungle. Like, imagine being the jungler and you get in a bad fight, and you already do this normally. You go and fight a jungle camp to get your health back, but now this is gonna even more so. You'll get like full health. So you won't even need to build like Warmogs or anything like that if you have the Ocean Soul. Cloud Soul, passively gain 10% movement speed. After casting your ultimate, gain an additional 30% movement speed for 3 seconds. So it's like old Nimbus Cloak. Nimbus Cloak is getting changed. This one's just nice. It's convenient, but it's not like any of these. All of these three are pretty crazy. The Mountain Soul one is nutty to me. That one's crazy. Okay, Elemental Drake buffs. All right, we're updating the buffs to be more equal in power and excitement stack for stack. Elemental buffs are weaker than before to avoid excessively power creeping Summoner's Rift buff ecosystem with Dragon Soul. Adding new weight game payout to Elemental Drakes, we're switching from the current front-loaded buff stacks back to a linear model. Last note, you can now get 4 stacks of an element. Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier. I'm stupid. Okay, you can now get 4 stacks of an element if an enemy team gets the first 2. So it will always be the same. So you could get 4 Infernals, but they're stacked differently. So if you get 4 Infernals, it's the same power as if you got 3. It's actually a little bit less. Okay, that makes so much more sense. That was confusing. That makes so much more sense. Alright, Infernal Mites. +5. Okay, so the scaling is smaller because we have the Dragon Souls now. So it's more beneficial to be the team that gets a Dragon Soul than it is to actually stack dragons. As long as to get the Dragon Soul, you have to stack dragons. But stacking the dragons gives way bigger of a buff than what the actual dragons give now. So each dragon is worth less, but the benefit of actually getting all of them is worth more. Man, the dragon and Rift Herald meta are crazy to me. Oh, it's going to be so crazy. I think people are going to over-index on dragons in preseason, and the people who go for the Rift Heralds are the real connoisseurs. Anyways. Mountain. So Mountain no longer deals bonus damage to epic monsters and turrets. I'm so glad with this change, actually. Thought it was the best dragon. It was so OP, but nobody like used it correctly. It was so OP. This is kind of cool. +8, 16, 24, and 32% armor and magic. Imagine if you have 4 of these and you have like a freaking Maokai or a Scion on your team. They're gonna be unkillable. Actually unkillable. That's pretty insane. And then for everybody else, it just feels nice. You have a Rammus on your team, you'll one-shot everybody as Rammus. Okay, we're removing Ocean's mana regen to even up its power among users. That makes sense. So rather than giving mana now, it gets 5, 10, 15, 20%. I think it's an overall pretty big nerf to Ocean Drake. Ocean Drake was one of the best dragons in the early game, and a lot of people didn't know that. But for the people who already didn't like it and didn't prioritize it, it's even less so important. So yeah, so this is definitely nerfed. Cloud's movement speed was powerful, but not as exciting. We're moving the speed boost to Elemental Rift. Okay. We're moving the speed boost to Elemental Rift. Oh, to Cloud's Elemental Rift. Oh, okay. So you no longer get the movement speed. You get ultimate CDR, ignoring CDR cap. This is pretty cool. If you end up getting the 40%, imagine being Lux and you have or Ezreal, you have the 40% and your ult's on like a 6-second cooldown. That'd be so silly. Oh my gosh, you have a karma, your ult would that'd be so silly, dude. Okay, anyways. But for reality, for highly impactful ults, this is really big too. Like, have like a Malphite ultimate or something like that. You'll have it up super often. Or Karthus ults or something like that. Okay. Elemental Drake mechanics with Drake types going down just 1 element after the Rift transforms. We're ensuring the first few you see don't double up on elements. Yeah, so this is what it's talking about. The first 2 dragons will be unique, and then the third one will be different from the first 2. And then the third one will be the one you'll have for the rest of the game. Since the Elemental Drakes are a bit weaker, we're dropping the health of the first 2 Drakes. The battle over the Dragon Souls begins heating up after that. So, it's easier to clear the first 2 Drakes. Interesting. Where does it say that? Oh, we'll look at that in a second. So Drakes after the first 2 have more health to widen the opportunities for team to contest. So the first 2 Drakes are much easier to clear. So champions like Udyr, champions like Shyvana, champions that can clear the dragon early will have a benefit in doing this. Oh man, this makes such interesting jungle meta because like people are gonna int for this dragon for the early dragons and they can probably get them, but you can just grab Rift Herald. Oh no. Oh my gosh. Rift Herald is really where it's at. You can just let those chumps get the first 2 and then you... Oh my gosh, this is cool. Okay, because the dragons aren't worth as much on their own. This is interesting. This is crazy. Okay. Um. Yeah, so the health is significantly different. It's almost 1,000 less. And then after the Rift transforms, it's much stronger. I really think the meta is going like on pro play um or like the counter meta that people aren't going to be thinking about for a while is it's really beneficial to probably take the Rift Herald because Rift Herald is weaker as well. And you can get two. And while these chumps are inting for these dragons, you just get these, and then the real dragon spawns at 3, and you just got to make sure you expanded your lead with those Rift Heralds. I think that's probably the meta. Okay, let's look back at this real quick. Okay, spawn timers will be 5 minutes until the dragon soul. So that's what we already talked about. The first 3 drakes are now always 3 unique elements. All subsequent drakes will be the same as a third drake. Yeah. Okay, all the Elder Drag buffs, just they're gone. So everything you knew about Elder Dragon before is gone. Elder Dragon now has new mechanics. So Elder's new mechanic is an execute, which is nutty, sharpening its identity as an endgame team fighting buff, making its impact much more obvious than the dot and Drake scaling it added. So damaging an enemy at less than 20% health causes them to die to Elder Immolation after 0.5 seconds, no cooldown. Elder Immolation can't execute through invulnerabilities effects like Zanya's Hourglass, so it's not like the Fountain, or undying effects like Kindred's Ultimate. So it has that execute on it. It still has burn damage as well. Oh yeah, so here's the burn damage. The burn damage is, it looks like a buff when you just look at it in isolation right here, right? But it's about the same as if you had 2 dragons because this is gone. This is what it used to be. Oh, wait, it's about as much. It's a little bit less than if you had 2 dragons and got 2 Elder Dragons. So it's less than that. But this is designed as an in-game tool because you should be getting it later than 35 minutes unless your team is just heavily prioritizing the dragons and the enemy team's not able to contest you at all. So you should get it way later. You have to have control of the entire game the entire time in order to get this Elder Drake early into the game. And so it's just designed to be able to close out the game easy. If you're dominating, you get 5 Drakes in a row, you should close out the game. So it's not that crazy. And then if you're not dominating and it's back and forth the whole time, then it creates like a really powerful objective for evenly matched teams to really do battle over, because whoever gets this Elder Drake will have a huge advantage in the next fight. Okay, buff duration is up 30 seconds, still lost on death. So this is actually going to be the same as a new Baron duration. So it's both of them are 3 minutes long, whereas Baron was about 3.5 minutes long. So now they're exactly the same. They say they may change Baron buff to be a little bit more powerful if this shows to be too powerful. Final notes. It just spawns 6 minutes after the 4th Elemental Drake is dead. After one team has 4 Elemental Drakes. Okay. We're standardizing the buffs. Yeah, so Baron buff is the same. So 3 minutes. It used to be 3.5 minutes. Buff visuals, this is what they'll look like. So blue and red look different now. And then these are Elder. This is Elder Dragon. This is Baron. And then this is all buffs plus a Dragon Soul. I don't know why it didn't show the Dragon Souls have a look to them as well. Okay. With the increased importance on Drakes on bot side, we're spawning Rift Herald a bit earlier and letting her respawn once so teams don't completely abandon their top laners in favor of bot presence. You know, more than they already do. Okay, it spawns earlier, okay? And respawn of 6 minutes. So if you do it at 8 minutes, you can get another one at 14 minutes. So that isn't plates at 14 minutes. So that's why it's designed like this. So you can't get 2 rounds of plates. But you can get plates with 1 and then break the tower with the second one. Despawn. Oh no. Okay. I had the Blitz app open. It confused me. Okay. The despawn is unchanged. Okay. Health. It has 2,000 less health when it's spawned. Initially than it did before. You see that? So it's a little bit easier to take in the early game, and also, Rift Herald's attack speed is lower just by a little bit to make it in order to where you can actually wrap around and hit the eye easier without it turning around, which is super annoying on certain champions to be able to do that if you don't have any like movement speed or dash. It's actually difficult early in the game to walk to the other side and hit it in time. Okay, I have the Rift Herald pickup window, so that's reduced by 20 seconds. This isn't super impactful. It's only sometimes where this happens. Your Rift Herald channel is only 1 second now, so you're not stuck there going, ugh, and then your channel, it's only for 1 second, so it's just more like, ugh, and then you're done. Okay, average level of all 10 champions. Oh, Herald level, average level of all 10 champions determined on picking up the Eye of the Herald. Okay. Oh, this is the summoned Rift Herald. Okay. The summoned Rift Herald is slightly weaker. The damage it deals to turrets is slightly less as well. It doesn't do 40% health, which is that minimum of 1500. It just has a base damage. It's actually just slightly less. It's about the same, but the headbutt hurts itself a lot more, so it should only get 1 charge off, is what it's implying. Since you can get 2, it shouldn't. It should get 1 charge off, and then 1 charge off, and then it should be easy to kill by the enemy. Since you can spawn 2. So it's easier to kill by the enemy, but if you kill them and then spawn it, then this makes no change. It does about the same amount of damage. It's just easier to kill after the first charge, but if the enemy's dead, then it can get as many charges as you want. It can't kill itself because it deals current health. Okay, that's Rift Herald. So I think there's going to be like a counter meta where you just sack the bot. You sack bot side. If your bot side is weak, you just sack bot side and let them have the drakes, and you just hard go for these Rift Heralds, break mid, and then you go bottom. You can like break mid with that Rift Herald, and then you can get your mid super far ahead while they're inting for these dragons, and then you can just 4-man dive bottom and get your bot back ahead, and then now you have control of the drakes. I think that's kind of where the meta is going to evolve to in pro play and stuff like that. So that'll be really cool. Okay, Minion Xp. Man, this video is long. We're very lightly adjusting Minion XP. Okay, so this is a good sentence here. It says, put in another way, every 5 waves adds up to an extra caster minion for solo laners and 1 fewer for bot. Okay, so shared XP is reduced, solo XP is increased just by a little bit, by 2%. Okay, before you look at this and you're like, I'm an 80 carry, 80 carry sucks. Something that it's important to know is on the higher levels of play, the support items are getting changed where they don't have to buy them. So supports will buy their Mobies much earlier in the game. They'll never buy the gold stacking item because you can't, and they get a lot more gold into supports early in the game. And I hear you. You're like, supports are getting even stronger in the early game. This is bullshit. But if you're familiar with high levels of play or even like challenger gameplay and stuff like that, as soon as someone gets Mobies and their Sightstone is upgraded, they're hardly ever in lane anymore. So it makes it where supports can leave lane quicker, so that you can just get solo XP as the bot laner. So I don't think this is a huge difference. I think this is just responding to how much stronger supports are going to be in the early game. Their gold differential is going to be about the same. Supports are. We'll talk more about this in a minute. Their gold differential is going to be about the same, so it's not like they get all this extra gold. They don't get as much gold development after the mid game. They just get a lot of gold in the early game where they're supposed to be strong. So I don't think this XP nerf on bottom lane is as bad as everybody thinks. I think it's just a response to supports are going to be able to get out of lane a lot easier and be a lot stronger. On lower levels of play, where supports never roam and supports they'll have a Sightstone and they'll never leave. On lower levels of play, this is going to feel bad. But on higher levels of play, like Diamond and above, where people actually roam correctly and use their Sightstone once they have it, buy Mobies earlier, this change is just a response to how strong supports are going to be in the early game. So supports are going to be much stronger for map influence because we have all these neutrals to fight over. So the changes make sense. Okay, turret plating. Oh, I didn't even read this when I looked at it. Slightly buffing turret plating durability to prevent group and push blowouts in the early game, especially with Rift Herald. Oh, man. Okay, my Rift Herald idea is getting squandered each one, but I still think it's good. Plus 35 armor and magic resist per 3rd, 4th, and 5th attacker when put. Oh, this is just when you have. This is just when you're teaming up. So the single Rift Herald thing is still going to be good. It's per 3rd, 4th, and 5th attacker. So if you're just jungler on top side, this is still fine. This doesn't change anything. Okay, this has changed a little bit, up to 40, so rather than 30 health, up to 40 health over 8 seconds when damaged by an enemy champion. So you can get this up more often, and it's worth more based on missing health. 66% effective on ranged users, so it's not going to be good on 80 carries anymore. But it's much better on top lane when you get a ranged matchup, and you're like, okay, jungle pacing. I did a whole video talking about this. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on Analyst, but catch up XP is gone. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Crap song, right? You get it. Catch up XP is gone. So now, being a shitty jungler and just perma ganking, like, I guess I'll clear my camps now. Is gone. It's gone. If you're bad at pathing, you will get punished now. Yay! Yay! Okay, small camp respawn. It respawns 30 seconds faster. Small camp respawn. You get an icon now, 15-second icon. I did a whole video talking about this. That's why I'm kind of like going through it a little slow. Buff camps icons. It'll be yellow at 15 seconds to match the smaller camps. So the smaller camps won't get the gray icon. It'll get the 15-second icon. So you still have to be on the correct side of the map to be able to clear in time. So I made a whole video talking about this where I think this change, it's just a quality of life change where it's, you know, you go and look for a gank on top side and you're like, you kind of lost track of your camps just a little bit and you're like, I think my Gromp's going to respawn or my Wolves are going to respawn somewhere between the next 5 to 30 seconds, but I'm really not sure. And if I wait 30 seconds, I'm going to waste a lot of time. But if it's only 5 seconds from now, I can wait, and then I'll clear it, and then I'll go look for my play, top or mid. But then when you don't know, and then you're like, I don't know when it's going to spawn. I guess I just got to go. I got to go make a play top, and you go top. You get all the way into the river, and then you see your wolf spawn, and you're like, and that would have given you like level 6 or something like that. So this is just a quality life change of that. If you're on the correct, or you're on the completely the wrong side of the map and your camp spawn on the other side and you see the indicator, that's not going to help you. You're going to have to walk all the way across the map in order to get those. So this is just a quality of life change. All the changes to the jungle all help the philosophy of better jungler wins. It all helps that. I really think that. Okay, Ancient Krug, even though XP is reduced, it's increased over time. Okay, so Krugs are reduced in XP. No longer has the first penalty of Ancient Krugs. Gold is slightly reduced. Wolf's XP are slightly reduced. When you just look at this, it looks bad, but it's not. Gromp is just as good as Krugs basically now because you clear it much faster. So Gromp is great. And then this is reduced as well. So all these changes are in order to make it to where the blue side jungle, the side with your blue buff, is more beneficial to clear that. Because this whole last season, jungle was trash. If you didn't clear your red side camps, you just like what are you doing? You're gonna get so behind if you don't. Your red side camps are worth so much more than your blue side camps. Like they weren't even like worth. It was I would some games never do my Gromp. It wasn't even worth the time. I would only do it if I had nothing to do. It just wasn't worth the time to even do Gromp. Because you just wanted to get to your Krugs once they respawned. And it was so you were disadvantaged if you were the red side team, which is the team on the top side. You were disadvantaged being on that side because your red buff was on your top side and bottom lane was so much more important. So you're at a huge disadvantage. The other thing when you're looking at these XP nerfs, the camps spawn a lot quicker. That's why the XP got nerfed. So overall, it's a 5% reduction in jungle camp XP. So individual jungle camps, it's overall 5. Combine them, it's overall 5% reduced. But over time, it's a 12% buff. So if you're clearing these camps on respawn, so if you're like pathing through your jungle and you kill them on respawn, it's a 12% overall buff to jungle XP. Rather than it's 5% nerf, right, to each individual camp, but if you're clearing them on respawn, it's a 12% overall buff. So that means if you're pathing through your jungle correctly, killing your camps on your way to ganks, or you set up your ganks to where your camps will spawn once you're done with the gank, if you're good at doing that, which all good junglers are good at doing that, this is actually a buff. But if you're a shitty jungler, then this is a nerf. I'm so happy with all these jungle changes, dude. Okay, cool. I made a whole video about that, so if you want to see me talk about jungle changes, I did a whole video about jungle changes, so I'm not going to talk about that too much more. Okay, so Duskblade, the big thing you need to know, it no longer has Blackout, so no longer disables enemy wards and reveals nearby traps upon being spotted. That's added to a different item. I'm fine with that. The attack damage just slightly increased, so nothing's changed. Nothing changed on here except for you get a new thing. So Yomo is now active now, allow its users to ignore unit collision for the duration. So that's pretty awesome. Edge of Night, gold is reduced. Attack damage is reduced, lethality is reduced, health is increased. But what's really cool, this is a really cool change, it's basically a Banshee's Veil now. So you don't have to use it as an active, so it's always going to be active. So I love this change, by the way. I hated having to press my Edge of Night and stuff like that. So, and you had to just guess, like, yeah, it sucked. Cool. Sanguine played. This is pretty cool. So, Serrated Dirk for Vampiric Scepter, 1,000 gold. 50 attack damage, 10 lethality, 15% life steal. Okay, Blood Pursuit. While near one or fewer visible enemy champions gain 8 lethality and 40 to 100% attack speed, decaying over 30 seconds if other enemy champions get too close. So this is about 1v1ing or split pushing or clearing jungle camp. So if you're in the jungle by yourself, you will get this bonus of 40 to 100% attack speed. If you're a split pusher and you're just 1v1ing the enemy top laner, you'll have this bonus. But as soon as you enter a team fight, you'll no longer have this bonus anymore. So it's just like a unique item. It's actually so broken in 1v1s. It's crazy in 1v1s, and it's crazy for jungle clearing. I don't think you'll ever build it on junglers. You might sometimes, because this would be an item you'd build third on most junglers if you were even ever going to build it. And then by the time you get to that, you're mostly team fighting as a jungler, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But it is active in the jungle. But this is like a top lane split pusher or a mid lane split pusher item. It's pretty crazy when you get to actually utilize it. It's like I've played a Riven matchup into a Mordekaiser because I know he's gonna ult me, and like it's free because he's gonna 1v1 me. He has to, even if my jungler comes. So it was like it was not even fair. I was attacking so fast, and did a lot of damage. Okay, so this item is just going to be the Blackout item. So this is for like Senna, and this is more of like a supportive item, honestly. It's for like Senna and Pike that can build this. It's a really cheap lethality item, gives you lethality, and then it has a Blackout. Something that's cool is that since there's more lethality items, champions who hard stack lethality will have more options to continue stacking lethality. Like lethality Varus, where they would just buy a Serrated Dirk at the end, and then it was kind of weird. You just had an extra Serrated Dirk. That was all kind of weird. Headhunters removed from Serrated Dirk. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know this was on here. Like I think I knew this was on here, but I didn't really know it was on here. And I've been playing this game for so long, and I do analytical stuff, and I completely forgot this was even here in the first place. So I don't think anybody will be missing this. Your next damage you spell no longer deals 40 bonus damage after you kill an enemy. I don't think anybody's gonna notice that. Okay, so the support items, big thing today about the support items, I'm just going to go out and say it right now before we just read every single part of this, is you no longer can purchase your support upgrade. It'll just upgrade over time after the quest is completed. After the third tier of quest is completed, you'll no longer be gaining gold from the item. So it used to cost 1,800 to get the big item, and the meta at the end of the season was to buy the big item. You will now only have to buy the initial item for 400 gold at the start of the game. So you never have to buy this, and this is about the gold generation you'd get over the course of the game if your team was ahead. So now you don't have to purchase for that, but the important thing is you will not be developing gold. You will not be developing gold after you get your support item upgrade, as well as you are going to be penaltied for anti-poaching for the whole game. So what that means, if you have the support item, you'll get reduced CS gold for CS that you take. So if you have the support item, you will not be getting gold from regular minions, except for the ones that contribute to your support item or your support quest. You'll get reduced gold, so you cannot build this on carries anymore. So this is reduced being able to build on carries. This is a great change for people who wanted to build on carries. So this is adding power to supports in the early game, and then leveling out their power for the rest of the game. So you still get about the same amount of gold generation throughout the game. So the gold differential is not very different. Just when you get the gold is different. Rather than you getting the gold throughout the game like everybody else, you get a lot of your gold impact is at the very beginning of the game, which is where supports are supposed to be strong. So it makes sense to me. Okay, Spellthief's Edge. So this is important. They just changed the amount of gold. It's the same passive. Damaging spells and attacks. Attack champions or buildings grant 15 gold. Grants a charge every 10 seconds up to 3 charges. Cool. Spellthief's Power. Spellthief's Edge. Slightly less ability power, but you get 10 health for whatever reason. No mana regen, so that kind of sucks. Same stuff right here. The upgraded item, 5 less ability power, 70 health. No longer grants that stuff. Still the same stuff right here. And then the big upgrade is a lot more ability power than the other upgrades. 60 and then less health. And then you no longer get these the gold generating passives, and you get 4 charges of Sightstone. Okay, cool. This is basically the AD Spellthief's Edge. So here are the stats: 405, 10 health, 2 gold per 10. This also has like some ancient coin mechanics in it, right? 10, 70 health, 3, 35, Wait, is this one the one that? Yeah. And the upgraded one, 3,550 health, and it, increased gold generation, all the good stuff. Relic Shield is a little bit different. So you no longer heal your ally with Relic Shield. So that's kind of weird. And Relic Shield can be used by ranged champions. And it works like exactly the same. So you can build on Thresh. You can build on Thresh again. Just the execute damage is a little bit lower. Cool. So you can now build this on Thresh. That's awesome. And this is more of the health focused one, and it gives you a little bit of ability power. Cool. Same stuff. Same stuff. This is like Relic Shield before. And then this is like the tanky option for Relic Shield. So Steel Shoulder Guards. Does the same passive as old Relic Shield, except for it doesn't heal you. Upgrades right here. And then you get Foresight Stones and you don't have any gold. Ancient Coin is removed. Alright, Shirelia's Reverie. Ancient Coin's removed since we have the shoulder pads and the sickle. Cool. Shirelia's Reverie is now being itemized to be more of a support item, so more people can build it. I still don't think a whole lot of people are going to build it. I love this item. I think it's cool, but I still don't think a whole lot of people are going to build it. I think someone like Bard might build it. That'll be fun. But this was being built by like, sometimes it'd be built by like Rise or Vlad or something like that, or some supports would build it. Like I'd build it on Rakan sometimes, and people would think I'm trolling. But whatever. But now you can build it on Rakan. It's actually pretty. Hey, it's actually pretty good on Rakan. So it gives you the same passive as the other, like Ardent and Redemption. So 10% heal and chill power, 100% health regen. No longer grants 40 ability power, so that sucks. So now this is killing my idea of building it on those champions, actually. But anyways, it just gives you the movement speed, and it gives you the shield passive. And it's cheaper. Still thinks it's a shitty item. So whatever. It's supposed to be like the version of Righteous Glory for squishy champions. Or for tank supports. Okay, energize and create items. So energize items now, damage from energized effects now stack rather than choosing the highest damage source. Energize charges from moving increase 20%. Charges from attacking is reduced by 50%. So it's more important to move around for your energized effects. Energized effects now always work on turrets. So it'll always work on turrets. So a lot of those passives are removed off the item. So Storm Razor is now a crit item. Builds with Cloak of Agility, 55 attack damage, 25% crit. So you can build this first item now. The only issue is the attack speed is really low. And I feel like this might be a good item on like Caitlyn or Jhin or something. It gives you the slow, but the slow is only 0.5 seconds, but no longer decays. I still think this is kind of a shitty item. It gives you the energized effect is really strong because it builds out a Kershi Shard. And a 25% crit damage chance. Could be like a niche item. This one, I can't really tell how strong it's going to be. It seems weak to me because it seems like just IE and Rapid Fire is much better. So Rapid Fire is getting stronger as well. Your Rapid Fire, don't worry about this stuff. This just changes the Energizers. The item itself just deals more damage initially, so 120. So it's better early game. So you could, in theory, build Storm Razor Rapid Fire. So this is like, you could build this on Jhin, and that seems probably pretty strong, right? And then you can build an IE after that. I don't know if it's going to be stronger than just the IE build, though. Okay, Static Shiv now bounces between 7 units, so this is buff, so hey, cool Yasuo buff. Hey. Shiv Lightning can no longer critically strike, but deals a larger base damage. So it's better early game, it seems like. Kershi Shard costs a little bit more, energized damage is up 30. That's pretty big, because some people would build this first anyways, like for example, like Kai'Sa would just buy it. I don't know what this changes for Kai'Sa's upgrades, because this might be so small that she doesn't get her upgrade anymore. So this might be a no longer a Kai'Sa item. But I remember Kai'Sa would sometimes just buy this first, because it's actually pretty strong once you get the energized effect. Cool. No more Brawler's Glove, because they're just adding Cloak of Agility to all the items. So Cloak of Agility now gives additional 5% crit. And so now when you put it on Zeal, Zeal is additional 10% crit, because Zeal builds out of Cloak of Agility now. Costs a little bit more, but the stats are a little bit better for that. So this is like pretty big for like Yasuo. You get an early Zeal, you'll have like 50% crit chance already. Spear Sojourn's removed. Praise the crab god. It's fucking gone. Spear Sojourn is still available in Aram, whatever. So Jax being an unkillable god is gone. ZZ Rot Portal, F in the chat. Elmrecker, F in the chat. Raptor Cloak, F in the chat. Item set editor cleanup. Okay. Kleptomancy is removed, F in the chat. Prototype Omnistone. So Omnistone, basically all, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. You can just read this if you want. You gain a new keystone every 8 to 4 seconds after you use your keystone. And then the scaling is weighted toward your levels. So it's reduced by levels when you get one. You just get a random keystone. If you don't use a keystone after you get a new keystone if you don't use while you're out of combat if you don't use that keystone for 40 seconds. If you do use your keystone, you get a new keystone after 8 seconds. Dark Harvest Souls persist after you get any other keystone. So Dark Harvest Souls will stack up still. So this is pretty weird. This will be interesting to see what champions use it. Maybe champions like Urgot, who doesn't really have one that he loves. I mean, he likes Conquer, but I've tried it on a bunch of different champions. It feels kind of weird. Might be Ezreal's. I don't know. It's fun to mess around with. I tried it on Riven. It was kind of fun because Riven has a bunch of ones you can use. This is just gonna have a lot of testing to go with it. So Conquer is changed where it doesn't just like demolish things. So you no longer deal true damage. And then the healing is still there. The base stats are higher on Conquer. This is what you need to know. The base stats are higher on Conquer. And the 15% of post-mitigated damage against champions is healing rather than 8% pre-mitigated damage. All this basically means is it's stronger. It's not as strong against tanks anymore because this is pre-mitigated damage that you heal for. Now this is 15% post-mitigated damage. So this will still be strong against people who don't stack resists. But if someone's stacking resist, you'll heal a lot less from them. So you still heal a lot, but it's not just like anybody who has Conquer beats every single tank in the game. So it won't be like that anymore. So it has a maximum of 10 stacks, but you can stack them quicker, 2 per ability hit or melee basic, or 1 per range. And you can now build this on ranged champions, so champions like Draven can actually go this reliably because the 3% or 3 seconds for range is no longer there. It's just 8 seconds flat. You do still stack it less fast on ranged champions, so it's still a better melee keystone. 2 to 5 adaptive force per stack. So it's slightly less, but remember that you can stack higher to 10 stacks rather than 5, so the maximum damage is still higher at 50 for 30 right here. So it's still great. All the champions that liked Conquer still like Conquer. It's still good. Aftershock is a little bit different. It's a weird change. So plus 80% bonus resist. So if you're able to actually stack resist, Aftershock is going to be super strong. It scales better. It's not as good in the early game. So it's better on tanks, not as good on fighters. Is basically what it is. So it's better on like people like Rammus, stuff like that. It's stronger on him. And then the scaling bonus health scales better. And the cooldown is reduced for trading in lane, like supports trading in lane with Aftershock. And so you can more reliably take this on tanks in the top lane, like for example Poppy. You can take this rather than Grass. We know Grass is great. And you can actually more reliably trade. You can trade every time your CC ability is up. Aftershock resist no longer lasts for slightly longer than intended. Okay, cool. That was just a bug fix. So Presence of Mind has changed. You no longer get the reduction on your ultimate. You just restore 20% mana and energy. Increased by 100 mana up to 500 of your maximum energy. So it actually increases energy as well. That's pretty cool. But it no longer reduces your ultimate cooldown, so rest in peace, Karthus. Because Cloud does that. Alright, we updated Nimbus Cloak. So Nimbus Cloak will now activate on Summoner spell cast rather than Ultimate cast. So it's pretty interesting. I'm going to try this out on Hecarim because I take Ghost on Hecarim and you get a 25% movement speed with the Ghost. So that seems kind of fun. This update seems just fun. It seems really cool. It seems cool you can like smite to kill a camp and then you get bonus movement speed to move to your next camp. You only get 15% on that. 35% on flash and teleport. So when you teleport, you'll come out of there basically with like a home guard. It'll be cool. This would be cool to see make teleport plays with Nimbus Cloak. Okay, Senna, she just, her passive was just changed to where Spell Thieves worked on her, but it doesn't work on her anymore because you'll build Sickle. Switch to True Line, F's in the chat, bug fixes, and skins. Victorious Aatrox. Hello. Just looks like Arclight Aatrox. This skin's weird. Not a fan of this skin. Okay. Alright guys, this video is so long, I don't want it to be an hour long, Jesus Christ. Thanks so much for watching. Big changes for me is the jungle stuff, and if you want to see me talk more about the jungle stuff or want to know more about that, I made an entire video on the jungle changes, so check that out. Support items are cool, support is stronger in the early game. If you play AD carry, the game isn't over for you, because your support should leave lane. If you're on lower levels of play, it's going to feel bad. Jungle pacing is amazing. Amazing. This is the best change ever. No longer catch-up XP. Fuck catch-up XP. Minion Xp. Rift Herald Dragon stuff. Super cool. Anyways, alright guys, that's going to be it. Thanks you so much for watching. That was a super long video. It's going to take forever to encode, and I'm going to see you on the next video. Bye-bye. Bye.